7 Manchester United rejects who became brilliant elsewhere. I love this title. What was it? Who became brilliant elsewhere. Very, very flowery, very flowery language. I like it. Okay, let's get into it.
Manchester United are cursed. Whereas everything that King Midas touched turned to gold, everything that the Red Devils have touched for the last 12 years has turned to detritus. Jadon Sancho looked like a...
What the hell is detritus? Oh, does this guy have like a word of the month calendar? Oh,
a future Ballon d'Or winner at Borussia Dortmund, but he couldn't skin a potato at Old Trafford.
Skin a potato? What the... Is that a British saying I've never heard of before? I've never heard anyone say, he couldn't skin a potato. I've tried skinning a potato, and that's actually not that easy. Well, okay, skinning a potato is obviously easy, but skinning a potato well, that's kind of difficult. I've cut myself a couple times trying to skin stuff. It's not as easy as it looks. Crap. Or who knows, maybe I just suck.
Andre Onana was a Champions League finalist and Yashin Trophy candidate at Inter Milan, but his hands turned into poppadoms the second that he touched down in Salford. Alexis Sanchez was arguably the best player in the Premier League at Arsenal, but he looked about as lost at Man United as Cole Palmer giving a lecture on string theory. Meanwhile, every manager who goes there, from David Moyes through to Ruben Amorim, turns into Tim Sherwood the second that they walk through the door at Carrington.
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like every manager that Man United gets is supposedly like the best new manager ever. It's like, I don't know. It happened with Ruben Amorim, and don't get me wrong. Ruben Amorim was doing pretty good back in Portugal, so I don't know. So maybe some of the hype was deserved, but I don't know. It just feels like every new manager that Manchester United gets is supposedly like the next coming of Alex Ferguson, and they just never are. Yeah, it happened with Ten Hag too, and he was pretty good at Ajax, but I don't know.
Man United could sign prime Paolo Maldini, and he would forget how to defend. They could sign Shakespeare, and he would become illiterate. They could sign Rihanna, and she would look ugly. I'm just kidding, of course, Riri. That one could never happen. There is really no need to unfollow me or stop watching the channel.
Wait, what?
Could sign Rihanna, and she would look ugly. I'm just kidding, of course, Riri. That one could never happen. There is really no need to unfollow me or stop watching the channel.
Yeah, he's actually followed by Rihanna. How the hell did this guy get a Rihanna follow? What the? Oh, wow. I don't know, man.
The rest are all accurate, though. Alright? This is a big problem for Man United, because it means that they aren't very good at football, they keep on losing games, and there are super volcanoes capable of ending all human civilization, which are scheduled to erupt sooner than this guy's expected to get his next haircut. But hey, instead of wallowing in the misery of Manchester United's downfall, which I have already done at least 3 times on this channel, why not celebrate the players who've gone on to achieve great things elsewhere? Old Trafford isn't always a graveyard for players, as it has been for the likes of Donny van de Beek, Morgan Schneiderlin, or Paul Pogba's careers. For others, it is just a period.
Alright, what was it? Manchester United had a hand in killing Paul Pogba's career, but honestly, I think he might have killed his own career himself. Yeah, I think he might have, I think he might have poisoned his own career, honestly, with certain illegal substances. What was it? Trap.
Period of hibernation. The curse touches them for a temporary spell, and as soon as they leave the club, it's lifted. Anthony, for example, had almost as many domestic abuse allegations against him as he had goal contributions in a Manchester United shirt, but he was outstanding on loan at Real Betis last season, and has since joined Manuel Pellegrini's side on a permanent basis. Zoran Tosic only made 5 more appearances for Manchester United than I have during his short time at the club, before becoming a superstar at CSKA Moscow. Chris...
Okay, but to be fair, it's CSK Moscow. It's like, how impressive is that really? I mean, that guy's uncle could probably play for CSK Moscow, if I'm being honest.
Smalling enjoyed a career renaissance at Roma before taking a real interest in major Saudi state infrastructure projects, and Matteo Darmian bounced back from an underwhelming spell at Old Trafford and is now a regular fixture at Inter Milan, aged 35. You get the idea. Well, today's video is about those types of players, but hopefully even better examples, otherwise I should just have included them. Without further ado then, who famously went on trial at Man United but never joined the club, and I have little doubt that he would have been a roaring success if he had, here are 7 Manchester United flops who, after leaving the club, were brilliant elsewhere. 7th, Henrik Mkhitaryan. In fairness to Manchester United...
Hold on, what was this guy's name again?
7th, Henrik Mkhitaryan.
Henrik Mkhitaryan. What was it? This guy sounds like a Lord of the Rings character. Henrik Mkhitaryan, the holder of the, I don't know, dumb magic, dumb shit, I don't know. Crap. Hold on. Alright, let's just move on.
In fairness to Manchester United, Henrik Mkhitaryan wasn't much more impressive at Arsenal than he was at Old Trafford after leaving the Red Devils, so maybe English football and the Premier League just wasn't a good fit for him, but his subsequent success in Serie A means that he nonetheless has to be included. Absolutely superb at Borussia Dortmund. I feel as though Mkhitaryan's final season in the Bundesliga doesn't quite get the recognition that it deserves. Mkhitaryan scored 23 goals and made 32 assists for a combined total of 55 goal contributions from only 52 appearances, or an average of better than 1 goal contribution every 80 minutes, over the course of a 50-plus game season for a club that didn't win anything. If that happened now, you'd be getting Ballon d'Or shouts. Mkhitaryan wasn't even nominated. My hashtag Justice for Mkhitaryan campaign starts now. In light of such a tremendous season at Dortmund, bordering upon generational, Mkhitaryan's £27 million fee, rising to £30 million subject to add-ons, could be viewed as a bit of a bargain. Still only 27 years old, Mkhitaryan was at the peak of his powers, and following a 5th place finish under Louis van Gaal, in which United badly struggled to score goals, it was hoped that the Armenian would provide the spark, invention, and finishing touches to transform the Red Devils under the incoming Jose Mourinho. As it happened, there would be fewer sparks than at an underwater firework display. From the very beginning, Mourinho seemed sceptical about starting Mkhitaryan. He faced competition on the left flank from Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, and Ashley Young, in the number 10 position from Jesse Lingard, Marouane Fellaini.
I mean, to be fair, this was back when, what was it? This was back when, Jose Mourinho might have actually been a good coach. Maybe. I mean, at this point, it became a bit questionable, but, there was still some belief he might still be good.
Juan Mata and Wayne Rooney, and on the right flank, from some combination of all of the above. A bit like fellow former Dortmund star Shinji Kagawa, Mkhitaryan struggled to adapt to the rigours of the Premier League or nail down a starting berth, later commenting that Jose Mourinho's defensive priorities had created a friction between the pair, and that he felt that his attacking capabilities were stunted. Mkhitaryan still played a key role in United's Europa League crown, it is worth noting, and he ended the season with 11 goals, a tally that was bettered...
What the hell? This picture looks like, what was it? This guy's freaking kicking him in the ass. Doesn't it look like that, kind of? Oh, crap.
Only by Zlatan Ibrahimovic. In his second season, however, Mkhitaryan became increasingly anonymous until he was ultimately left out not only of Mourinho's starting 11, but the United squad entirely. A move to Arsenal, at the same time that Alexis Sanchez headed in the opposite direction, turned out to be a deal that didn't work out for anyone, unless you count Sanchez getting very rich. Mkhitaryan joined Roma in 2019 though, where he made 57 goal contributions over 3 seasons, catching the eye of Serie A rivals Inter Milan. Aged 36 now, Mkhitaryan is still a regular starter at Inter, where he has made over 150 appearances, won both the Coppa Italia and the Serie A title, and reached 2 Champions League finals. 6th.
Well, was it pretty impressive? What was a pretty impressive turnaround? I mean, yeah, Inter have been pretty good. I really don't watch a lot of Serie A. If you don't know, I live in America, and Serie A games don't usually air on TV. They are on this streaming platform called Paramount Plus, which I don't have Paramount Plus, and I really don't feel like getting Paramount Plus just for Serie A, you know. It's like, and there's nothing else on there I really, really want to watch that much, so it's like, I don't know, I'm just out of luck, I guess. But yeah, no, Inter have been pretty good for the last couple of seasons. What was that? And what was it? This guy does seem pretty good from what I've seen, so yeah, well, it was a pretty good turnaround.
And reached 2 Champions League finals. 6th. Memphis Depay. I can't think of many players, save perhaps for Paul Pogba, who have felt as though there was more genuine excitement about signing for Manchester United during the post-Fergie era than Memphis Depay. Sensational at PSV, where he scored 28 goals in 40 games from the left flank in his final season, Depay's ability to beat a man, strike a set piece, and whip a ball into the top corner after cutting inside onto his favoured right foot made him one of the most sought-after prospects within the European game. The likes of Liverpool and PSG had also been heavily linked with Depay, but it was United who got the deal done, handing the then just 21-year-old Dutchman their famous number 7 shirt.
Yeah, what was it? They gave him their number 7 shirt. What was it? They had serious faith in this guy. It's like, what was it? But, you know, what was it? Manchester United having faith in you, at least modern Manchester United having faith in you, really is not, really is not necessarily a good thing. At least in modern times. True.
Previously worn by the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, who Depay was compared with, David Beckham and George Best. It would be fair to say that Depay failed to replicate the successes of those United greats.
That's putting it lightly.
In fact, he failed to replicate the successes of United number 7s like Michael Owen or Andrei Kanchelskis. I still
Who?
vividly remember watching a Champions League qualifier against Club Brugge early on that season, following a bit of a slow start, in which Depay scored 2 and assisted another in a 3-1 win, looking incredibly confident and accomplished. It felt, at that moment, as though he would kick on and become a superstar at Old Trafford, but it never quite materialised. In fact, 25% of all of Depay's goals and assists in a Manchester United shirt, across more than 50 appearances, came in just that one game. Depay expressed difficulties adjusting to the physical demands of the English game, not just in terms of the matches themselves, but also training and a more congested schedule, and despite being given numerous opportunities by Louis van Gaal, he could never really stamp his authority on the team. Famously, or perhaps infamously, Depay wasn't short on confidence, once asking Robin van Persie whether, quote, big boys play for Fenerbahce on international duty, shortly after signing for United, but that arrogance, or belief, depending upon your perspective, never translated into match-winning performances.
It's like, what was it? It's like you can respect that kind of thing when you're playing well. When you're playing well, you're allowed to have an ego, but not when you're playing for Manchester United. Trip.
Following just 18 months in England, Depay was sold to Lyon for between £16 to £22 million subject to add-ons, where he resurrected his career, making 131 goal contributions in 178 appearances over the next 4.5 years.
Pretty impressive.
United had first refusal to re-sign Depay, but in...
Is it just me, or does the guy on the left holding the Memphis... does the guy... on the left of Depay, kind of look like Shane McMahon. Vince McMahon's son? Am I going crazy, or does that guy to the left of Depay look like Shane McMahon? I don't know. I don't know. I think he looks similar, but maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. You let me know.
2021, the Dutchman joined Barcelona after his Lyon contract expired. Moves to Atletico Madrid and Depay's current club Corinthians have followed, and whilst I would argue that Depay's ability probably ought to have resulted in a better career than the one he's actually had, there can be no doubt that he was a major disappointment at Manchester United and performed far, far better elsewhere. Age 31, Depay still starts up front for the Netherlands, and with a tremendous 52 goals from 104 caps, he is his country's all-time leading goalscorer.
Damn, what was it? What was it? Sometimes players are just, Sometimes players are just better built for the international game than the club one, what was it? Yeah, sometimes it's just like that. What was it? Who was that Brazilian midfielder that that was really impressive at the 1998 World Cup, but then he signed for, I don't remember who he signed for it, but he signed for some big European club after that, and he just totally sucked. What was the guy's name? I legitimately can't remember, but I don't know. If anyone knows who I'm talking about, I don't know, just say it, I guess. Because I swear this is a real guy.
Having overtaken, ironically enough, Robin van Persie over the most recent international break.
Okay, maybe there was some justification for his ego. Maybe a little bit.
That's just what big boys do, I guess. 5th, Angel Di Maria. Okay, even though this is my list, I wrote, curated it, and I'm now narrating it, I do have a contention about Angel Di Maria's inclusion. As I've long maintained on this channel, I don't really think that Di Maria can be described as a Manchester United flop per se, since he was actually pretty good in his single season with the club.
Yeah, what was it? Yeah, I mean, what was it? He wasn't bad for Man United. He really wasn't.
Aside from just his pure performance levels, which I guess are somewhat subjective, Di Maria made 10 Premier League assists, a tally which was bettered only by Cesc Fabregas and Santi Cazorla that season, both of whom played more games than him. Nonetheless, the expectations of Di Maria were so freakishly high, and the understanding of his game among many was so ludicrously misplaced, that there was basically nothing that he could do to avoid being labelled as a flop. Having been superb for both Real Madrid and Argentina the previous season, winning the Champions League and reaching a World Cup final, there seemed to be an expectation among some people, virtually entirely as a result of Di Maria's then British record £59.7 million fee, that he would come in and score 20 goals and routinely win games through sheer individual brilliance, despite the fact that he had never hit double figures in terms of goals in the league ever.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really the kind of player that Di Maria is. What was it? Di Maria, he's kind of... I don't know. He's not... I feel like he's not the kind of player that usually gets the, highest transfer fee. Or, I guess, gets the record transfer fee is what I'm trying to say. He's not the kind of guy that goes and, scores, hat tricks every game. But, his impact is still felt. His impact is still very much felt. Just not in ways that necessarily everyone's looking at,
Following a single season of misusing and misunderstanding Di Maria, in which, again, he still wasn't bad by any means, United decided to cut their losses, flogging the Argentine to PSG for approximately a £16 million loss. One of the greatest wingers of his generation, Di Maria scored 92 goals and made 120 assists in 295 appearances at the Parc des Princes, becoming one of PSG's greatest players of all time before joining Juventus. He played a key role as Argentina won the World Cup in 2022, alongside a couple of Copa America crowns, before rejoining his first European club Benfica, and subsequently his boyhood and current club Rosario Central, in what is basically the dream romantic career path.
I mean, yeah, what was it? It really is. I mean, playing for someone like the biggest clubs in Europe, what was it? Then getting to go back to your first club from Europe, then going back to your boyhood club. I mean, that really is a really good career path. It's like you're just kind of loved everywhere you go. Well, except for, the one place where he wasn't, but that's the whole thing.
Fourth, Wilfried Zaha. It is said that Alex Ferguson personally advocated for the signing of Wilfried Zaha, having been left frustrated at Arsenal's success, signing lower league prospects like Theo Walcott, Aaron Ramsey, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Zaha was signed in January 2013, aged 20, but he returned to Crystal Palace on loan for the rest of the season as part of his transfer agreements. During that time, Zaha played a starring role as Palace won promotion to the Premier League via the Championship playoffs, but it meant that by the time that he actually linked up with Manchester United, Sir Alex Ferguson had retired. His successor...
Oh, crap. Well, imagine signing for Man United, like, right after Sir Alex Ferguson left. That's like, what was it? That has to be like missing the last chopper out of Saigon. You know what I mean? It's like you just missed the boat. You just missed the way out. You could have been great. You could have been saved, but instead, you're stuck. Crap.
David Moyes didn't seem convinced by a young Zaha, either due to his assessment of Zaha's talents or concerns about results and keeping his own job. Moyes only ever gave Zaha 106 minutes of first-team football and just 28 minutes, across 2 substitute appearances, in the Premier League.
Wow.
There were even rumours at the time that Zaha had been frozen out because he'd slept with Moyes' daughter, rumours, it really must be said, which Zaha has since denied.
Oh my god. It would... You either have to be very brave or very stupid to sleep with the coach's daughter. It's like, what are you even thinking, man? What? Oh, crap. I mean, listen, we don't know if it's true, but if it is actually true, I feel like this guy deserves some applause just for that. Oh, crap.
He spent the second half of the season on loan at Cardiff City before rejoining Crystal Palace, where he'd go on to become a club legend. 3rd in Palace's all-time appearance charts and 10th in the club's all-time scoring charts, with 90 goals from 459 appearances.
Damn,
even
not
those
bad.
numbers don't do justice to Zaha's legacy at Selhurst Park. There were, conservatively, probably 4 seasons in which, without Zaha, Palace most likely would have been relegated. In a team that didn't score a great number of goals at times, Zaha routinely produced match-winning or levelling moments of magic, deservedly winning 3 Crystal Palace Player of the Year awards. He might not have been there for Palace's FA Cup triumph or European qualification last season,
man.
but none of it would have been possible without him. Capped twice by England and 33 times by the Ivory Coast, Zaha joined Galatasaray in 2023, where he has been sent out on loan to Memphis Depay's old club Lyon, and now his current club Charlotte FC in Major League Soccer.
Oh, wow.
3rd.
What was it? That's gotta suck. What was it? He missed out, on Crystal Palace's... What?
He might not have been there for Palace's FA Cup triumph or European qualification last season.
Damn, that's gotta suck. It's like being one of the best players on a team for like a really long time, and then like leaving just as they're about to win a major trophy. Well, okay, it's the FA Cup. Some people don't consider that a major trophy, but that's whatever. And qualifying for Europe, and like he just missed all of that. That's gotta suck. Crap.
But none of it would have been possible without him. Capped twice by England and 33 times by the Ivory Coast, Zaha joined Galatasaray in 2023, where he has been sent out on loan to Memphis Depay's old club Lyon, and now his current club Charlotte FC in Major League Soccer. 3rd. Romelu Lukaku. The second man to lead his country's all-time scoring charts and feature in this 7, you could give Manchester United the combined firepower of the Russian, Chinese and American militaries, and they still wouldn't be able to win a war against Luxembourg. Romelu Lukaku was as close as you get to guaranteed goals in the Premier League when Manchester United signed him from Everton, for a reported £75 million in 2017, rising to £90 million subject to add-ons, having scored 87 goals in 166 games for the Toffees over the preceding 4 seasons.
Damn.
I think it's sometimes forgotten that Lukaku had only just turned 24 at the time, and he was actually on course to rival or even exceed Alan Shearer's record as the highest goal scorer in English football's top flight during the Premier League era, had he stuck around for long enough. Even as things went, Lukaku still scored more Premier League goals than either Steven Gerrard or Didier Drogba, with a better goals per game record than Wayne Rooney, Robbie Fowler, or Jermaine Defoe. In his
Yeah, no, what was it? Romelu Lukaku really was going crazy in the Premier League for a while. It was... I don't know. I don't know. I know a lot of the Belgian national team players don't like it, but I do understand why they were labeled a golden generation for a while. It's like, they really did have some like insane talent for a while. True.
First season at Old Trafford, Lukaku scored 6...
Which, obviously adds to, the disappointment that a lot of people feel that, that Belgian team, that had so much talent, never really won much. Yeah. But, that's just how things go sometimes.
16 goals in the Premier League and 27 in all competitions, which was a regression from his final season at Everton, but hardly a disastrous one. The following season, particularly after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's appointment, Lukaku found himself either out of the team entirely or asked to play out wide. He got an increasingly frustrated figure, and also an increasingly heavy figure, by no means overweight, but in contrast with how lean, fast, and agile he had looked during his time at Everton. Once again, United cut their losses, flogging Lukaku to Inter Milan for a reported €80 million, where, lo and behold, Lukaku shedded a bit of weight, rediscovered his form, and became absolutely lethal once again. Over the next 2 seasons, Lukaku played the best football of his career, scoring 64 goals in 95 games, winning the Serie A title and reaching a Champions League final, and winning the Serie A Footballer of the Year award. That's what preceded a nearly £100 million return to the Premier League with Chelsea, where Lukaku was an even bigger disappointment than he had been at Old Trafford. Regardless, Lukaku emphatically fits...
Well, to be fair, he was at Chelsea, so it's like, if you're... I don't know. If you're gonna say, playing for Manchester United made him worse, I feel like you have to also say that playing for Chelsea made him worse, because... Oh boy. Chelsea, I don't know. He could probably make a video like this for Chelsea too, and exclusively use players that they signed within the last, 3 or 4 years, honestly. That's how bad it's been.
Someone who failed to live up to expectations at Man United, but was tremendous straight after leaving them. With 89 goals from 124 caps for Belgium, Lukaku has scored almost 3 times as many goals for Belgium as anyone else ever has, and he won the Serie A title as Napoli's top scorer last season, still, if you can believe it, aged only 32. Second, Diego Forlan. Manchester United flops who flourish elsewhere isn't solely a post-Fergie phenomenon, even if the wily old Scot had more hits than misses. He just about gets a let-off for Wilfried Zaha, since he had retired by the time that Zaha first reported for training, but Diego Forlan was all him. Brought to Old Trafford straight from Argentina, aged 22, Forlan had already scored 40 goals in only 91 games for Independiente. He arrived in the January window, a time of year when Ferguson made notoriously few signings, and the Uruguayan's difficulty settling in without a pre-season perhaps helps to explain why. He failed to score in 18 appearances in his first half-season at the club.
Yeah, for Diego Forlan, not scoring in 18 games, that was pretty crazy. What was it? He was really good.
And from that point onwards, the narrative that Forlan was a flop was a difficult one to shake. Over his next 2 full seasons at Old Trafford, Forlan scored 17 goals in 77 appearances, which is actually a slightly better record than it sounds, since so many of those appearances were as a substitute. Forlan was effectively Ruud van Nistelrooy's understudy, albeit quite a different style of centre-forward, and despite things ultimately not working out, he'll always be fondly remembered by most Manchester United fans for his brace away at Anfield in a 2-1 win in December 2002. What's more, whilst things never
I wasn't born yet when that game happened. I don't know why I felt like saying that, I just did.
quite clicked for a young Forlan,
Oh my god. How many people understand this? Hold on.
December 2002. What's more, whilst things never quite clicked for a young Forlan,
How many people understand this? This is a very specific reference to make. How many people have ever seen the movie Click? How many people watching this? How many people understand why Adam Sandler is is pointing a TV remote at us right now? Crap.
at Old Trafford, nor was he ever accused of having a bad attitude, falling out with his teammates, or kicking up a fuss about a lack of minutes. In another world, Forlan maybe sticks around for another couple of seasons, becomes the main man at Man United following Van Nistelrooy's departure, and becomes a club legend. In this world, however, competing with an invincible Arsenal team and a free-spending Chelsea side following Roman Abramovich's arrival, Fergie felt obliged to snap up Louis Saha, who was a proven Premier League striker at Fulham, unlike Forlan, and in the same window, Man United also signed Everton wonderkid Wayne Rooney and Leeds United starman Alan Smith.
Yeah. What was it? Being a striker at Man United, the season they signed Wayne Rooney is not a position I envy. It's really not a position you want to be in. Oh, crap. Yeah.
In the blink of an eye then, Forlan had plummeted down the pecking order at a time when his career needed to kick on. He joined Villarreal that same summer of 2004, where he scored 25 goals in 38 games in his debut campaign, winning both the Pikiki Trophy and sharing the European Golden Shoe with none other than Thierry Henry as the best goalscorer in Spain and in all of Europe. Wayne Rooney was Man United's top scorer in the league that season, with 11 goals. Forlan scored 59 goals in 127 games for Villarreal in total, followed by 96 goals in 198 games for Atletico Madrid, where he won a second Pikiki Trophy and a second European Golden Shoe.
He calls it the Pikiki. I've always heard it pronounced the Pichichi. I don't know. Which one is right? I don't know. It could probably be pronounced either way. But yeah, what was it? Nah, Diego Forlan really was crazy. It's like Uruguay having freaking Forlan. What was it? Suarez. They were not left wanting for strikers, Uruguay. It's like,
And this time it wouldn't be shared with anyone. Throughout the Messi and Ronaldo duopoly, spanning more than a decade, two Uruguayans, Diego Forlan and Luis Suarez, were the only players to interrupt their stronghold on the Pikiki and the Golden Shoe. Forlan also scored 36 goals from 112 caps for Uruguay, playing a starring role at the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, when he was at the peak of his powers, in which he won both the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball as the top scorer and the best player at the tournament, going on to finish fifth in that season's Ballon d'Or vote.
oh my god, what was it? Oh, crap. Am I being mean, or does Thomas Muller have a really weird smile? No, it's like, look at him, what the hell? Crap.
Overall then, the boy did pretty good. The big boy did good even. First, Scott McTominay. Whilst there was always a sense that Diego Forlan was on the cusp of something special at Manchester United, Angel Di Maria was just misunderstood, and Memphis Depay's career could ignite if he got his mojo back, I don't think that many people at Old Trafford anticipated Scott McTominay's transformation at Napoli. That's not to say that he wasn't highly rated at Man United, or that they thought that he would fail in Serie A, just that they didn't expect him to come within one goal of being the top scorer for a Serie A title-winning team from midfield, win the Serie A Most Valuable Player award, and be heralded as the second coming of Diego Maradona, all in his debut campaign.
Yeah, man, that's true. I mean, some people in Napoli really are comparing frickin' McTominay to Maradona, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I don't think McTominay is anywhere good as Maradona is, but I think there are good reasons to praise him, though, because, like, I mean, what he's saying is true. A big part of what makes, McTominay's time at Napoli so impressive is because it really was just a massive turnaround, and it's like, he's on the Ballon d'Or list. It's like all he needed was one season away from Man United, and he's on the Ballon d'Or 30-man list. It's like, I don't know, man. That says a lot about him. It says a lot about Man United. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Man United need help. It's like, but not like player help. They need help in a lot of places, but I don't think the players are like always the issue with like Man United's problems. I really don't.
It was often
their problems go far deeper than the players or even the managers, if I'm being honest. It's like I don't know how you fix whatever's going on over there.
Remarked that Man United would never win the league with, quote, players like McTominay, but it transpired that it was McTominay who would never win the league with a club like Man United. A regular fixture at Old Trafford for 4 seasons, McTominay racked up over 250 appearances for his boyhood club, but he was sold shortly before Ruben Amorim's appointment, in large part because there was someone willing to pay a decent fee for him, and the fact that he could be booked as pure profit as an academy graduate being very useful from a PSR perspective. In hindsight, as McTominay tore up and down the pitch in Naples, beating players and smashing in goals, meanwhile Amorim's various two-man midfield combinations all lacked the athleticism, technique, or both of the above required to compete in the Premier League, that looked to be a strange decision. The change of scenery has been a blessing for McTominay, though, who now partners Kevin De Bruyne in midfield, while supplying fellow Manchester United departees Romelu Lukaku and Rasmus Højlund. Højlund, incidentally, has so far scored 1-in-1 for Napoli, bagging just 14 minutes into his debut away at Fiorentina. Of course he has. For what it's...
Oh, crap. What was it? Even Rasmus Højlund becomes good as soon as he leaves Man U. It's... Oh, crap. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
It's worth... I don't actually think that Scott McTominay was a Manchester United flop, and though he has undoubtedly gone up a level, or 7 at Napoli, he hit 10 goals in all competitions in his last season at Old Trafford, and Bruno Fernandes was arguably the only midfielder to contribute more than him in his last few years at the club. Nonetheless, I would say the same for both Di Maria and Forlan, all 3 of whom are routinely described as flops, and... if eligible, then there can be no doubt that McTominay's transformation at Napoli is among the most remarkable of any Manchester United departee. That is it for today's video, though, aside from those already mentioned in the intro, just in anticipation of other suggestions, I don't think Shinji Kagawa ever returned to his former heights after rejoining Borussia Dortmund, even if he was still better there than he had been at Man United. Daley Blind played almost 150 games in just 4 seasons at Old Trafford, and I thought that he was pretty good under Louis van Gaal, albeit nowhere near as good as he was in his sensational first season back at Ajax. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka was just much of muchness in his nearly 200 outings at Old Trafford. Again, Man United didn't seem to know what they had signed more than anything else, so a very good debut campaign at West Ham isn't enough for him to sneak in ahead of any of the 7 who feature.
Hello there. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed yourself, how about hitting that like and subscribe button? And maybe checking out a full stream over at Desiderio Ultra at twitch.com, which you can find in the description below. There I do epic gaming, funny reacts, and keep you up to date on all the latest soccer news. I hope to see you there. Vamala!